Hello, welcome or welcome back. My name is Ari, and this week the D20 is going to pick my TBR. I have a document where I track all of the series that I need to continue on with, how many books that I have left in them, what the books are, etc, etc, etc. And because it's in a Google Sheet, it automatically comes with a numbering system in there. So I can correspond the numbers on this sheet with whatever number I roll on the dice and choose the next book to read that way. Now, a couple of things. There's two caveats, I guess. I have 32 series that I could read on here, and this is only a D20, so I won't be rolling any of the series that have like a large number of books yet to finish in it. So we won't see more of the Draenei Saga again like we did last week, where I have 9 books to finish in that series. Also, one is the title, is the title bar, where it says like series title, author, etc, etc, etc. So if I roll a 1 on here, a nat 1 is a curse. So we're gonna make it a curse. And if I roll a nat 1, I have to read a book that is not a continuation of the series. So I could read a standalone, I could start a new series, but I won't be forwarding my goal this month of completing or continuing series if I roll a nat 1 with this. We're gonna do it just like I did last week, where I am going to roll right now, figure out the book, read it, come back, talk about the book, and then roll again. So however many books are gonna be in this vlog are going to depend on how thick of books I'm getting, because last week it was all like super thick books, and how fast I can read these books. I am going to go ahead, grab my cell phone so I can record what this is, and I will have a screenshot of the series next to that clip. Confusing. Way more confusing. I'm making this way more confusing than it sounds. You'll see what I'm gonna do here in a second, but we're gonna roll and see what the first series is. That rolled a 6, and the first book that I'm going to be reading is the Supernatural Investigation series by B.B. Alston. So this is the Amari and the Night Brothers is the first book in the series, and Amari and the Great Game is the book that I am going to be reading for this. I don't have it. I see my library has it, or I'll buy it on Kindle if I have to. But first book on here is going to be a middle grade. Fortunately, it was a good middle grade, so we'll see how this goes. Amari and the Great Game, which is the sequel to Amari and the Night Brothers. This is gonna at least be a trilogy because the ending of this was open-ended, or not open-ended, it was a cliffhanger. So this is middle grade fantasy. It follows 13-year-old Amari, kind of at a magical summer camp, I guess is the best way to describe it. In this one, she basically has to solve a mystery. I think it's like mystery fantasy, and she has to participate in this thing called the Great Game to become, or potentially become, the leader of all magicians. It's really well written, but it is middle grade, and it's not written for me, it's written for like a 11 to 14-year-old child. So I prefer my fantasy to have a little more depth to the plot, which this is not giving me. I prefer my characters to be adults. It's very hard for me to suspend my disbelief in a way that I can buy that this 13-year-old child is like destined to save the world, or that she's the most powerful being in the world, when I'm not seeing any of this power. I'm seeing a 13-year-old struggle with making friends, with popularity versus people who are actually your friends. She's very powerful, she's like a hero, but she's also like I don't know how to describe it. It's the story is about like prejudice and stuff like that. So she is a young black girl. In the magic world, no one cares about her being black, but they care about other things that are like magical communities version of, you know, racism and xenophobia. And she falls into those categories. And so you see her struggling with her individually being liked, but people like her being hated just for existing. So it's a great message to young readers, who is the target audience for this book. It's just a bit too simplistic for my personal enjoyment. So this series, it's definitely well written. I highly recommend if you like middle grade fantasy. I just don't think it's going to be great for you if you're expecting like intense high fantasy, because you're not going to get that with this series. But yeah, done with that. I guess we're rolling again. Since I've now read Amari, our top 20 list has changed because I don't have any more books in that series to read, so I can't roll it again. Here's the new one, and let's roll this and see what number we're getting. 18 is the Chimera trilogy. I think it's a trilogy by Kate Glass. And the next book in that series is A Conjuring of Assassins. So, I'm still cursed. I'm never gonna get a short book. Like all month, it's just giving me these like 400 plus page books. This is 475 pages. I have graphic novels on this list. I have short, quick reads under 300 pages on this list. I am just getting everything 400 plus pages because my luck is just, it's just not going there. But that does mean I'm getting rid of a lot of these 400 page books that I probably wouldn't have picked up on my own. So it is what it is. This is what we're reading next. Hopefully we can get this one more this week. It's Saturday right now. So yeah, I need to read this one quickly, and then hopefully I get another one that we can put in here. I at least get 3 books. I would really like to have more than 3. But this game... Okay, after way too long, I have finally finished A Conjuring of Assassins. I don't know why this took me so long to get through, but I'm extending this video an extra week because it's like Thursday the 16th when I finally finished with this. It wasn't bad. It's 3-star. I just don't think I was in the mood for this particular kind of fantasy right now. This series is political fantasy. It exists in a universe where magic is like super illegal. Like you are going to be hunted down, tortured, and killed if you're caught using magic. And people are just born with the ability to use magic, including our main character and her like group of associates. I don't want to say a whole lot because I don't remember like what's a spoiler for the first book or not. Our main character, this is a single perspective from Rami's point of view. She uses a few different names, and her associates are kind of spies. They're kind of thieves. There's almost like a heist theme going on with these books where they're trying to support the political leader of this area from like behind the scenes. Like they're supposed to just be like poor people on like the edges of society, but they really secretly deal with all this political stuff. So if you like heist, like they're not stealing anything other than maybe like political secrets. But if you like the idea of a heist without the actual like thievery of it, like the idea of like an assassination attempts or preventing assassination attempts. Like you really like political fantasy. I think these are very, very well done political fantasies, and definitely something underrated. I just wasn't in the mood for a political fantasy right now, so it took me forever to get through, as I said. Because that was a continuation of a series that I haven't completed yet, our sheet has not changed since last time, so we're just going to re-roll again, no changes or anything like that. There are quite a few books that like I really, really want this to roll for, but nothing's guaranteed. And when I roll this, when I record it, if you can see like a bunch of clothes on the floor, please ignore that. There's a children's charity that are taking clothing donations, and I've been using the floor to kind of like sort what I want to get rid of and what I want to keep. So my floor is not exactly perfectly clean right now. All right, we have the next book in the Deeds of Paxnarian, I think is how you say her name, which is Divided Allegiance. This is book 2 in this series. There's a third book that I also have. This, this cover, like her on the cover, so creepy. I hate this cover so much. Like, what is with her face? What is that? But yes, this is what I'll be reading next. It's 520 pages. This month has just not been good to me. It's been 2 days since the last clip, and I haven't even picked this book up. I haven't started it at all. So instead of just continuously procrastinating until I force myself to read a book that I don't really want to read right now, like I want to read the series, I just don't want to read another political fantasy because I'm just not in the mood for it. I am going to make the executive decision to re-roll until I get a book that I want to read. This whole randomizing thing that I've been doing this month has not been very nice to me. I want a short book. I want something that I want to read. So we're gonna do that. We rolled a 4 that time. What is 4? It's The Bone Shard War by Andrea Stewart. How many pages is this? If it's over 500 pages, I'm re-rolling. I don't want to read a 500-page book right now. All right, Bone Shard War is 624 pages, so we are going to re-roll. If you were really interested in me reading this, I have an arc of it. It's not even out yet, so I will definitely be reading it next month because it does come out next month. So if you were disappointed that I'm not reading this right now, it is coming out next month. Seven is Book of the Ancestors. Screw that, I hate Mark Lawrence. $17 is Mad Adam. It is Mad Adam by Margaret Atwood. That is one of the books on my TBR this month. The Year of the Flood by Margaret Atwood. It's like 430 pages, but this is on my TBR, so I'm fine with reading it because I needed to read it this month anyway. We got it. We got something. I very, very much enjoyed this. Margaret Atwood is an amazing writer and she does like horror dystopian very, very well. So this series is set in a futuristic universe to ours. America as a country doesn't exist anymore. Everything is pretty much run by corporations, and so corporations kind of create like gated communities where people live and they pay them, and then they like go to war with other corporations, and then the poor of society kind of live in like shanties and cities that have like sprouted up outside of the corporation compounds, right? So everything is a very like late stage capitalism. Nothing's going well. The world is dying. And in the first book, Orcs and Crake, we follow a guy. His name is Jimmy. He goes by Snowman. The world has ended. He's pretty sure he's the only person left alive in the entire world. And he thinks that he might have been the cause of the world ending, or one of the causes of the world ending. So you follow him in that book. In this book, we are following two other survivors, Rin and Toby. Now, both of these women were part of a cult called the Gardeners at different points in their life. And you kind of, in both books, you know that the world has ended, but you're mostly following them and their lives before the world ended and like lead up into how all of this happened. So you can technically read this without reading Orcs and Crake, but you get like Easter eggs where it's like there's crossover from characters in both Orcs and Crake and this book. And you also get like more answers about what exactly happened in Orcs and Crake than you do in this. That is all for this week. It's technically Monday and I could use another day to pull another book, but next week's video is going to be shorter. I'm gonna just go ahead and switch over to how we're randomly going to choose books for next week. Let me know what you think about any of these series down in the comments below. I was definitely cursed this week as far as pulls. Hopefully it goes better next week, but we'll find out now, won't we? Anyway, I will see you in the next video. Bye.